Hi, bestie. Welcome to another episode of Salon Horror Stories. In this series, I share real life experiences from people with natural hair who go to salons only to be mistreated, disrespected, or disregarded. This is episode 3 in the series, so if you have not watched episode 1 and 2, I'm going to link them in the description so that you can watch it. Also, I'm very sure that if you have natural hair, you have a salon horror story. So to keep this series going, if you have a salon horror story that you wouldn't mind sharing, please type it in an email and send it to me at olamidefred@icloud.com. Don't worry, I'm going to keep you anonymous unless you say otherwise. I just feel like it is very important for us to tell our stories and highlight all the different red flags that people can learn from so that when they also go to salons, they will know what to look out for, what to run away from, and what to correct. Just to expose the smelling rash of the salon industry in Nigeria. It just doesn't make sense how Nigerian salons that have Nigerian stylists based in Nigeria cannot do Nigerian hair. A Nigerian in Nigeria with natural hair cannot go to a Nigerian salon and get their hair done. Nigerian salons are turning people away for having Nigerian hair. It's crazy. Today I have two stories to share with you, and without further ado, let's just get into the stories because they are wild, okay? So the first story goes this. Dear Olamide, please buckle up. Okay. It was a nice day in 2020. Restrictions were finally easing up, and there was a nice salon that I used to get my nails done at. I figured they're really big and have many hands. At least one should be able to handle natural hair. Psych. My sister got her nails done, and I sat down to wash my hair. Mind you, prior, I've never allowed anyone to wash my hair, and for good reason. I was just tired and needed a little help. Never again. I asked who can handle natural hair here, and some lady stepped up. I was like, okay, nice. First red flag, my hair was in big braids, and she took them down and tried to comb it dry. Girl, how can a professional hairstylist in a hair salon, your work, your job day in, day out is to do people's hair, and you still don't know that you're not supposed to be doing somebody's hair when it is dry? You still don't know that natural hair is to be left alone unless it is moisturized? Really? All this tells me now is that this hairstylist in this salon, for however long they've been in this salon, has been on a daily basis destroying people's hair, breaking people's hair every day for as long as they've been in that salon, because this is not something that you just oops I forgot. No, this is something that the person has probably been doing all this while, and it just took somebody to speak up and tell the person that, girl, you're not going to do that. You're not going to comb my hair when it is dry. And it's sad that that is the reality, because these are the professionals. They are the ones that are supposed to tell you that, this is the reason I'm spraying water in your hair, oh. This is the reason why I'm using conditioner in your hair, oh. It is not good for your hair to be dealt with when it is dry. They are the ones that are supposed to be telling you, not the other way around. Who is the professional here? Hello. I asked her to wet it, which she did grudgingly, I might add. I proceeded to finger detangle and comb it, and we proceeded to washing. I have never had somebody tug at my scalp in the name of washing. I don't understand how something as basic as washing can be so problematic in so many salons today. You will see some salons, they'll be washing somebody's hair. If you were not there looking at what they are doing from afar, you would think that it's jeans that they are using hard brush to wash. Why am I hearing your fingernails scraping against somebody's head? Up till now, oh my goodness. She conditioned it and started combing it so roughly. I had to ask her to stop. I can feel the pain as I type this, no jokes. Honestly, I can understand. I can understand the PTSD that comes with the kind of coping that all those Yasulia used to comb. And you would think, okay, I'm going to a big salon. I shouldn't be getting the Iyasulia type of treatment, but guess what? Iyasulia just got hired by the big salon. She didn't change her ways. The big salon probably didn't train her any differently. Iyasulia is just employed now. So it's still Iyasulia treatment that you're going to get, even in the big hair salons. And that is just so unfortunate. If I am, blessed enough to set up my own chain of hair salons, we are going to do at least like 4 weeks intensive training before you even start touching any customers here, because girl, you will not embarrass me in public. We got over that finally and proceeded to cornrows. She said she can't plait wet hair, another red flag. At this point, I should have gotten up and left, but I sat there and told her to make it like that. That was the tightest cornrows I have ever gotten, and it was super painful. You know, honestly, I saw this coming from a hairstylist that doesn't know that natural hair is supposed to be detangled after it has been moisturized, to not knowing how to wash hair properly and tugging on scalp just for ordinary washing. You can't trust that kind of hairstylist with a style like cornrows. Cornrows on its own, even when it is done by a proper professional, if you do it too often, you will start to notice a recession in your edges and also around your nape. Not to not talk of packing your hair and giving it to a hairstylist that cannot even wash hair gently. Like cornrows is not that type of girl. There's a lot of sensitivity that goes into making cornrows. Cornrows is a type of style that the person that is doing it needs to know how to detangle gently, needs to be able to handle hair gently, and needs to just the person needs to have gentle hands, because if not, the person is going to grab your you're going to grab your last brain cell out of your scalp through your hair follicle. There are just so many people out there who are suffering from, receding hairline, or they'll say, oh, I don't have back hair because of cornrows, because of the kind of hairstylist that is constantly helping you to get those cornrows. There's a reason why a lot of those girls who do cornrows back to back to back to back tend to start losing their edges, because it is likely that they are using a salon to do those hairstyles, and it is also likely that the person in the salon that is doing the cornrows for them has very strong hands. Please, if you are in a salon and God even help you, you were able to test the water small with maybe washing or taking down an old protective style, and you can see that the person's hand is a little strong, don't even bother with cornrows. Let them just do you maybe jumbo twist and just be on your way. Go and find somebody else to do your cornrows for you, because cornrows they will use that cornrows and comot all the hair on your head. I'm telling you. I got up, went home, and couldn't sleep because the center of my head was hurting. I tried painkillers, dousing my hair in ice water, nothing worked. The next morning, my older sister took out my cornrows, and it was like they'd taken a burden off me. I could finally breathe properly, and I could blink without pain. See, this is what I meant when I said you shouldn't give cornrows to somebody who does not have gentle hands. It will lead to pain like this. And the thing is, all of those other things that they will tell you to do, you douse your hair in ice water or you take painkillers and all those things, it's not going to work. The best solution is to take down the hairstyle. And even after taking down the hairstyle, you will still take those painkillers and still dip your head inside ice water. Oh. Think of it like a bullet wound. If you get a bullet wound, putting bandage is not going to help. You need to remove that bullet. The thing that is causing the pain is still there. You need to remove it. So it's the same thing with tight hairstyles, right? All that taking of painkillers, dousing your hair in cold water, spraying your hair with menthol or using mentholated spirits, all those things, they don't help, because there's still extreme tension on your scalp because of the hairstyle. So the best way to deal with overly tight hairstyles is to take them down. And that is why I always say that when you're going to the salon, it's very important that you take your mouth with you. Because if you don't speak up, you will finish that hairstyle, you will pay for it, and then you will go home and loosen it in less than 24 hours. That's a waste of money. Open your mouth if the hairstyle is too tight. Let them know. And if they don't want to listen, you could go stand up and carry yourself from their chair. It's not by force. You shouldn't be paying for hair loss. You shouldn't be paying for pain. Beauty is not pain, no. Abeg, let that narrative die in Jesus name. Beauty is not pain. It's not pain like that. Abeg, it's not by force. If they are not going to listen to you, stand up from their chair and don't pay. Till today, there's an indentation in my scalp that wasn't there the day of this hairstyle. Can you imagine? So now she has a permanent dip or something in her scalp from just having so much tension on the scalp. There are so many people out there right now that are battling thinning edges, that are battling traction alopecia because of one bad salon visit. Please don't let that be you. I deeply sympathize with this person, and I hope that going forward you will avoid salons that don't listen. You will avoid hairdressers that don't have gentle hands, and you will also learn to speak up when a style is too tight. It is a waste of money, it is very dangerous for your scalp health, and it can set you back in your hair growth journey and in just your hair journey in general. So please, I beg you, be very assertive when you're going to a salon and know when to stand up and get out and never come back. Anyways, I'm locked now and I manipulate my hair less. Wonderful. Now, I don't mind locks. Like if locks is your thing, go ahead, do your locks. But I'm beginning to feel like maybe you were pushed into doing locks because you couldn't find a hair salon that could handle your hair properly, which I think is very, very sad. If you are happy with your locks, I'm happy for you as well. But it's just like people having to relax their hair or lock their hair or cut their hair because they can't find good salons. That is not a good thing. I mean, sure, after you do it, you can, make your peace with it and continue living your life, no biggie. But the fact that you were pushed to make that decision simply because there is a lack of a basic necessity. I mean, you would think it is a basic necessity for Nigeria to have salons that can tend to Nigerian hair, right? You would think it's a basic necessity, but the lack of that basic necessity is now forcing people to take on styles that they wouldn't otherwise have taken up. And I hope that very soon, someday, we can find a solution to this problem. And I hope to be part of the solution as well, because I also want to start rendering hairstyling services very soon. And I hope that in the future as well, I'm able to establish a chain of hair salons that treat hair with care, with respect, with dignity, for God's sake. That is not too much to ask, is it? It is well. Now, for this second story, I have read ahead a little bit, and it is much less to do with the mishandling of natural hair and more to do with just general incompetence amongst Nigerian hairstylists. Let me just read it for you. I wanted to dye my hair to honey brown, and this guy really went under the rain to get the dye because they didn't have the color I wanted, only for him to dye my hair to ginger. So, what I'm thinking is going on here is that she went to a salon, she wanted to dye her hair honey brown, and then they didn't have the honey brown color in their salon. So, the guy went out to go and get honey brown. But I think maybe the guy does not know the difference between honey brown and ginger, and then he mistakenly got ginger and then dyed her hair ginger. But by the time he was done, it was already dark, so she didn't notice the color. And then the next day in the morning, she saw it and realized that, oh no, they've dyed my hair a different color. Now, I don't know whether it is that the guy doesn't know how to dye hair properly or he does not know the difference between honey brown and ginger. But I think it would have been appropriate for him to ask, is this the color that you want? Or you should just say, me, I don't know how to dye your hair to honey brown. No. I think honey brown is a very light brown. And I don't know if you need to bleach your hair to achieve the color or not. I'm not that kind of hairstylist. I'm not a colorist, so I don't know. But like these are the conversations that you're supposed to have with your clients before you go ahead and start doing something like dyeing their hair. Because a lot of these hair dyes are not temporary, they are semi-permanent or permanent. So there are certain conversations that you're supposed to have with your clients before you go ahead and permanently change their hair color. You get me? These are the things, these are the issues, these are the incompetencies that we have to deal with in Nigerian salons. Now, I understand that this is not a matter of whether our hair is natural or relaxed or anything, but it is still a problem. Why are hair salons taking a page out of Nigerian tailors' books? They'll say, oh, don't worry, I can do it, I can do it. And then you end up with what I ordered versus what I got. Why? If you cannot do something, it's not by force. Nobody will beat you. Just say that I cannot do it. It's not that you will now go and then you go and do rubbish on somebody's head. Anyway, she said that she noticed it in the morning and then she went somewhere else with the intention to dye it back to black. She actually told them that she went somewhere else to dye it brown, but then she got something else. And then these people said that okay, they will be able to dye the hair black, only for her to end up with orange and pink hair. How? How did we go from dyeing our hair to black to going to orange and pink hair? Two colors. How did she order Katy Perry and end up with 6 9? What's going on? I was so livid I could see my hair falling out as I touched it. I just told him to dye it back to black. The owner of the salon trimmed my eyebrows for free as compensation. Is that supposed to bring my hair back? But my hair didn't stop falling out regardless. Worse still, the hair wasn't even black. I had to tie a scarf to work for a week straight. So, from what I'm seeing here, you tried to get your hair dyed to honey brown, but then you got ginger instead. Then you tried to dye it to black, and then you got orange and pink, and then you still tried to dye it back to black again, but it didn't even go back to black. And as compensation, they decided to trim your brows. Now, with this salon, this second salon, I don't there's so many things that I find very problematic about it. First of all, you had told them that you had recently gotten your hair dyed, and I think it is their responsibility to let you know that you shouldn't be dyeing your hair too often around the same period of time. These are the things I'm saying that the professionals, the hairstylists in the salon, don't even know better. So who is supposed to provide the education on how to properly take care of hair? And I have a feeling that that is why there's so much misinformation about hair care and hair growth and hairstyling running rampant on the internet, because there is no true source. The professionals in the salons don't know anything. So anything that anybody says on the internet is either you take it or you don't take it. Like there's just so many people giving their own different opinions, and there is no expert, there is no professional that can come out and say, oh no, this is what you're actually supposed to be doing. It's so weird. There's just such a knowledge gap in the Nigerian salon industry, and it's so weird. So the salon owner or the person in the salon was supposed to tell you that you are not actually supposed to be dyeing your hair so often within such a short period of time. And then what is now worse is, even after they didn't tell you that and they went ahead to dye the hair, they didn't even dye it properly. You ended up with even more colorful hair than when you started. Like, what did they do? You were trying to dye it to black. How did orange and pink enter the picture? And then you tried to dye it black again in what I am guessing is either the same salon session or maybe the next day, and it still wasn't black. Why is this so difficult to dye hair to black? Anyway, first of all, I don't think that you should be dyeing your hair that often, because dyeing is a chemical treatment. So I don't think you should be dyeing your hair that often within the space of a single week, because all those chemical reactions going on in your hair, they can weaken your hair, and that is probably why your hair started falling out. Okay, and also please just go to where they know what they are doing. And one way to know if a salon knows what they are doing is ask questions. Okay, what is this? What is that? What will it do? If they are able to answer your questions properly, then they have a higher likelihood of knowing what they are doing. But stylists that try to avoid conversation, they just want to rush, get you in their chair, do, and have you in and out. They likely don't really know what they are doing, especially if you cannot find any reviews or any proof or testimonial that they've done something like that before. Then I don't know, I wouldn't trust such a salon with something as permanent as changing your hair color. At the end, I had to cut 3 years worth of hair and start all over again. I dyed my hair back to black twice. It's still not black. Hey, what did these people do to your hair that is not turning back to black, for God's sake? I would never dye my hair again at this point. I don't know what those first set of people did to your hair, oh, especially that second salon that you went to, because you were trying to dye it back to black, and then somehow it turned to orange and pink, and since then your hair has never gone back to black. That is so weird. Okay, and the fact that you had to cut 3 years worth of hair off your head because of a set of bad salon sessions, bad salon experiences. That is this is what I've been saying. A lot of people are fighting some very, very serious battles in their haircare journey because they go to salons. Because of salons, a lot of people are on their alopecia journey. A lot of people are on their edge loss journey or edge regaining journey because the salon helped them to misplace their edges. It's crazy how the salon industry is just allowed to operate anyhow in Nigeria. Nobody's checking them, nobody is accrediting, nobody is doing anything about it. Just go destroy your hair and go home. Like, and you pay for this destruction, you pay for this hair loss, you pay for, oh my goodness. And I know that it's not only in Nigeria. I'm trying to say whole Africa wide stuff, because I've actually gotten some comments from people in Cameroon, people in South Africa. They can relate with this whole like bad salon industry issue. And it's crazy how Africans cannot get afro hair done properly in Africa. So those are the two stories that I have for you today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think can be done to minimize how often stories like this occur? Because I'm telling you, every single day there is a natural head girl out there somewhere who is experiencing something very terrible in a salon every single day. It is something that is constantly occurring, and I honestly cannot even, I don't know what we can do to help with this problem. So if you have any ideas, if you have any thoughts, please drop them in the comments. Let's see what we can do about it. Let me know your thoughts about these horror stories. And also, if you have your own horror story to share, please type it up in an email. It's very easy to send it to me. Just type the story in an email and send it to me at olamidefred@icloud.com. And your story will make it into the series. Don't worry, I will keep you anonymous unless you say otherwise. If you have not watched episode 1 or episode 2 of the Salon Horror Story series, make sure you go and you check them out. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have liked it and I hope you have subscribed for more content like this. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, take care of yourself and avoid terrible hair salons, okay? Mwah. Bye!